I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my daily thought. All right, as you know, I usually start talking throughout, and then I sort of land into the daily thought. The There's a lot of things on my mind right now, and I literally probably no less than maybe 20 to 30 minutes ago got back from a walk. I took a walk because I needed to go outside because as those who have been listening to the show, whether it's on the podcast or watching the show on YouTube or Daily Motion, you know that I've been battling sinus issues. And the right side of my throat is kind of swollen, which is a little bit sore, and under my arm it hurts a little bit. But I wanted to go for a walk to get some sunlight, get some vitamin D, because, and just so people will know, when I spoke to a doctor back a long time ago, not that long ago, back at the beginning of this year to be more specific, the doctor has said to me, because I said to him, he has said, yeah, there's some inflammation, and this is when I was first finding out about the mono, because I contracted mono around March. And when I went to the doctor a few weeks later, we were talking about viruses, and I was like, oh, I thought when it comes to if you're sick and you have a virus, you should be in bed. And the doctor was like, no, you don't have to stay in bed. He's like, as long as you're not running a fever, you can actually go for a walk. He said it's healthy to go for a walk. One reason is to get vitamin D, because vitamin D helps your immune system too. Also, it helps you absorb calcium better as well. So that was something that I remember him talking about. And then another thing he told me that I found out that I didn't know was I'm sure some of you may have heard that you can get sick by getting wet by walking in the rain or whatever. He told me that was an old wives' tale, is what the doctor had said. So I thought that was interesting too. He said that's an old wives' tale. It's more to it than that. Just being out in the rain and then getting sick. He's like, no, it doesn't work like that. So I learned something new. But I decided to go for a walk, and I still feel kind of but at the same time, I didn't want to not do this show. I didn't want to not work, is how I'm looking at it. I really don't take my listeners or my viewers or anybody who has been affiliated with this show by supporting it. I don't take anybody for granted. And regardless of how I may feel, just know that I will always do everything to record an episode, even if it's a podcast only episode. I'll do everything I can to record an episode to stay on schedule, whether it's with my daily thoughts, which is a supplement to Keeping It Real with KC, or whether it's the actual show that happens on the weekend, which I still plan on doing my 3 episodes for movie recommendations this weekend. And I'm looking forward to it because one of the movies, I'm sure some people have seen it, but I still have to recommend it because it is a classic. And not classic in the sense of black and white, but classic by, if you say a certain phrase, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So Yeah. And to discuss this topic today, I'm glad that I'm actually able to record this a little bit earlier because my regular job that I work, we did a half day today and then we'll be off for Labor Day. I still have to do a little bit of work on the weekend just to make sure things don't pile up too bad. But still, for the most part, we're going to be off and we don't come back until Tuesday. But having the half day, I can record this now and try to get the episode up and rest a little bit later. Working is just a huge thing. I've mentioned this before, and I feel like I'm about to go off in different directions on this trail, but I will try to bring it back to one single direction. Working is something that has to be done. It has to. There isn't anything that I can think of that just appears without some form of work going into it. If you were to watch or listen to my episode from the ground up, things have to be built, you have to put in the work, things have to take time. Also, when you're building a career or you're pursuing a goal, sometimes you may not be recognized right away due to whatever is surrounding the situation. It could be office politics. It could be something within the home. It could be a number of things in life where you may not be recognized right away for the work that you do. There also could be situations where you feel you want to speak up and say, hey, I did this. It's sort of like tooting your own horn or popping your collar. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because some people say, if you can't be your own cheerleader, then who will cheer for you? If you don't cheer for yourself, if you don't root for yourself, then how can you expect other people to root for you? And that's more of a self-esteem type thing. So I get it. But even when you're out working and you may root for yourself and you may tell people, hey, I've done this or I've done that. Hey, mom and dad, I've cleaned my room. I've cleaned the house, to try and get them to congratulate you. It doesn't always have to be said. And in situations where you know you're doing a good job, a great job, or a fantastic job, but you still haven't received that recognition, don't let that discourage you. Let your work speak for you. If you keep working, the time will come where your work will speak for you. And sometimes the recognition can be immediate, sometimes not. Regardless, whatever work you do, try to always do it for you, first thing. And if you're not doing it for you, like if you're doing it for a job and it's part of your requirement, your scope of support, don't be discouraged when others don't recognize. Just continue to put your best foot forward. Because you would be surprised who may be looking one day. You would be very surprised who may be looking one day. The people that you expect to be looking, the people that you expect to receive the praise and accolades from, they may not notice right away. But there may be someone else in the background who's been watching the entire time, and you haven't noticed them because you were expecting the praise and accolades from the people in the immediate circle versus someone who's been on the outside looking in and seeing how hard you work. And if you do great work, it'll speak for you. Just like when I was talking about from the ground up and I was coming back from my walk. With the apartment building, all of those men, I haven't seen any women yet. So, to be specific, all of those men that I've been seeing working on this building, their work is speaking for them. If the building were to collapse, obviously something was missed or something happened. But every single day, as they get closer to completion, their work is speaking for them. They don't have to say anything to those of us who live in the area who have seen the building rise up floor by floor and everything happen. They don't have to say anything to us because we see it. Their work, and they're working hard. Their work is speaking for them. And that's what I say to people who get a little bit discouraged sometimes when they feel like they're not being noticed or what they're doing is in vain. So yeah, I just want to throw that, I wanted to throw that out there for all the people who work really hard and for those who sometimes feel like they don't even want to try because they feel they won't receive the recognition or they want to stop in mid-performance because up to the point that they have performed, they haven't been recognized. You don't know who's watching. You don't know. The people who you expect to be watching may not be watching. There could be somebody on the outside looking in saying, hey, wow, that person's a hard worker. Wow, that person does great work. And for those who like to toot their own horn, which, again, I get it. Nothing wrong with that. I do it myself sometimes. Just know you don't always have to do it because your work can speak for you. Your work can say more than sometimes you ever could. Sort of like Elon Musk. If Elon Musk didn't tweet, his work would still speak for him. With Tesla and other things, working with NASA, and the list goes on and on. There are certain people out in this world that you don't really hear from that often, but you know who they are because their work speaks for them. So don't get discouraged, and don't always feel like you have to get people to recognize you or to make people see your accomplishments and what you've done. If you do great work, if you work really hard, your work's going to speak for you regardless. It will eventually speak for you. The surrounding people, whether it's in the immediate circle or outside the circle looking in, someone's going to recognize that whatever task, goal was accomplished, it wasn't accomplished by itself. It was accomplished because of your hard work. So that's what I mean when I say that. And I'm really, really glad that I was able to do this daily thought today at an earlier time. I'm going to have to fix lunch in a minute, which I think I'll make a tuna wrap with broccoli, because broccoli's good for you. For those of you who don't know, broccoli has vitamin C in it, and vitamin C is good, which I may or may not have mentioned it before. Vitamin C helps you absorb iron, which I didn't know that. I just found that out a few months ago. So yeah, go figure. So I'm probably going to do a tuna wrap with some broccoli and some hummus, because I love my hummus. And do that and drink lots of water for this so I can do my 3 episodes tomorrow. But thank you everyone who's been listening and watching and liking and subscribing and sharing and following and all that other jazz. I really appreciate it. And I sincerely mean that. I appreciate it more than you know. So anyways, KIRWKC.com is the main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/KIRWKC, KIRWKC for YouTube. If you go by the YouTube page, you can subscribe by clicking the subscribe button followed by the notification bell. Daily Motion, you can click the subscribe button. Thank you again. I appreciate you. Be blessed.